So, you want to join a guild in Neverwinter, but you don't know where to start. Well, I'm here to tell you a little bit about the Sword Coast Knights, and also about how guilds work in general. So let's go, shall we? This is our guild hall. This is where we hang out and eat food together. You can even ride your horse around in here if you want to. We've got pretty paintings on the wall. We've got statues of knights protecting us, little lion fountains, and furs everywhere so that we can lounge around. Sometimes we hold giant feasts in here, where everyone sits down at the table and there's food all over it. Check this out. You can sit down on these. Sometimes. But you cannot be in inspect mode while you're sitting on them. Isn't that nice? But anyway, you're not here to see the inside of our guild hall. You're here to see the Stronghold and what it looks like. So let's go. This is a Stronghold. What you see in front of you here is the main entrance. There's a fountain and several NPCs. If you spawn into the Stronghold, you'll spawn in right here. And you'll have the opportunity to pick up quests from various NPCs here in the Stronghold. The Master of Coin will give you quests like support quests that send you to a specific zone to complete tasks, or to complete certain events like Stronghold PvP. The Cleric here give you quests that'll give you shards in exchange for completing random queues. The Ranger gives you 2 quests, one for killing enemies in the Stronghold, and one for completing heroic encounters in the Stronghold, which we'll get to in a little bit. The Steward only occasionally gives you quests when we upgrade our guild hall, and you have to go check out some of the new things in the Stronghold. And the Builder will give you up to 2 quests per day for various things in the Stronghold for you to go kill. The Traveling Wizard is how we can learn how to do guild events like Stronghold Siege and Dragonflight, and also how you can start the Dragonflight event. So those are some of the first people that you'll meet in the Stronghold that you'll need to know about, and that's where you're going to get all your quests. But the key to the guild, to the Stronghold, is Seymour. This is Seymour. He is our mimic. This is how guild members can contribute to the guild coffers and help us to grow. If you interact with the mimic, you'll see all these different resources that you could donate. There's all these different types of shards that come from different types of quests. There are these resources that are generated from Stronghold structures. We'll get to that in a minute. There are these stockpile resources like labor, where you can contribute professions, assets. There's gold. We all know what gold is. Of course, there's glory that comes from PvP. In gems, there's rune stones, there's your refining stones, there's crates and whatnot that you can make with your professions, and etc. There's surplus equipment, which is any type of gear. You can also make crates of spears or crates of leather armor. And then there's these spoils of war and various things that drop from your quartermaster's enchantment that you can contribute here. And of course there's astral diamonds, where 1,000 astral diamonds equals 1 astral diamond chest. And then there's various campaign currencies that we can contribute, whether that's tyranny treasures from the Tyranny of Dragons, frozen treasures from the Icewind Dale campaign, fate trinkets from Sharandar, dark gifts from Dread Ring, and influence. Now, influence is a currency that you can only earn in the Stronghold, and I'll show you guys how to do that here very shortly. So, these are the things that you need to know about on the inside of the Stronghold. We, of course, also have a postman, where you can send and receive mail. We have a personal banker, so you can get in and access all your stuff. And we have a guild banker that has a guild bank. Now, all these different tiers have different things in them, naturally, and those are available for our guildies to use. Some of them are restricted. In this case, this is where we keep gold and such, so you can withdraw quite a bit, and potions. And as you level up in the guild, you'll have access to different tiers here. So, of course, we have low-level gear, potions, etc. Here we do have dyes and transmutes and fashion and whatnot that we keep in here. We have enchantments. This also tends to be where people deposit hunt lures that they can't use. We have level 70 gear, artifact weapons, artifacts, artifact gear, lockboxes, and overload enchantments here. These things are available for anybody if they need them upon asking. This includes companions, some refining stones, and some more level 70 gear, as well as rune stones. We do have mounts and mount insignias, and again, several more hunt lures, because we have a lot of guildies farming those right now who are unable to make the lures out of them, so they stick them in the bank. Potions and scrolls and whatnot. And this tab is our event prizes. These are not available for anybody to just take out. But there's some pretty good stuff in here that we will be giving away through events and contests that we do as a guild, including epic mounts, legendary mount packs, bags, ultimate enchanting stones, and the like. This is Horned Owl. He's our resident ranger. It's customary in the guild to use your mount emote whenever you see anybody. So there's one more important thing that you need to know in the guild, and that is the salvage anvil, which is just right here inside the front entrance. And it works just like any other salvage anvil, where you can go. Actually, I might want to keep that for my alt. Yeah, I'm going to hang on to that for my alt. But you go right click and salvage something and get AD for it. Let's see if I can't find some blue gear to salvage here. Yeah, here we go. And there you go. So there's a salvage anvil if you don't have the VIP where you can summon one. And just as a reminder, this is where you're going to spawn in the guild hall if you port in, and so it is just right here to the right and up the stairs. Right there. Alright, so those are the places that you need to know in the guild. I'm going to go over the guild vendors and the things that you can purchase. We have the outfitter here, who will sell you gear for different types of guild currency. And there's even different PvP and PvE sets of gear. Now, this first one, this is a guild mark, and that's what you're going to earn for everything that you donate to the coffer. And guild marks, you can get up to 30,000 of them. You can spend them here and at several other vendors. I'll show you those as we go along. So let's take a look at what he has for PvE gear. So he has the company set, which are pretty decent. They're 420 item level, but they do cost 4,000 to 6,000 guild marks to get, which is quite a bit of guild marks. You know? So these are going to be pretty expensive for 420 level gear, where you can get 490 level gear much easier right now through hunts in Barovia, and even just for unlocking the Barovia campaign. But if you're a completionist, or if you like the look of one of these sets of gear or something, not a huge fan, you can choose to access those that way. There are artifact gears available. Now these are much better. Depending on what type of build you're going for, these are going to help you max out certain stats. Each of these will give you... So we have belts and cloaks, and these are like the artifact gear that you might have equipped on your character, and each of them will give you at max level up to 4 points towards various stats, 2 to one and 2 to another. And for example, the duelist's cloak here will give you dexterity. And you can look up these in the Collections tab by going Control J under Artifact Equipment and scroll to the right until you get to the Stronghold Company set, and that will tell you what stats they're going to give you when they're maxed out. You can compare those to what you have. Now, of course, to achieve the set bonus, you're going to want to have both of these, a neck and a waist, and in this case, it'll give you 500 power. Of course, lots of different gear sets have different set bonuses. Now, under accessories, we have guild belts and rings and necklaces. These are not good. These are some pretty outdated stats. They only have 1 enchantment slot. They don't have any set bonuses or any equip powers. So These are pretty much there for transmutes if you happen to like them. Can't even see these very well. So I don't recommend trying to purchase those, but if you wanted to, that's where you would do it. Now, also available from this outfitter vendor is PvP gear. I do not do PvP, although this stuff does look a little bit cooler. I don't know how the stats compare to regular gear because I don't play PvP, and the accessories are going to be similar, but more slanted towards PvP. So if PvP is your thing, you can get some decent PvP gear here in the Stronghold. Now also available are Dragonflight gear that you have to have these. Oh, this is interesting. You have to have the Fangs of the Dragonflight to unlock, but it also looks like you have to have Seals of the Protector, which are no longer available in-game, so I'm not sure how this is going to change. So right now these are not really going to be accessible. They are kind of cool looking with the dragon wings and such. If you put the whole set on, it's alright. So if that's your thing. However, again, these are not going to be best in slot. These are 420, where you can get better gear other ways. And then accessories, again, necklaces, belts, and etc. So not the best, but it is available there. The Dragon Fangs you earn from doing the Dragonflight event in the Stronghold, where we summon in dragons to kill, and there's 4 dragons that land in the Stronghold, and we have 10 minutes to kill them all, but you have to kill them all within 1 minute of the first one dying, or they fly away. So that's something that we have to coordinate with a lot of people in the Alliance. It's a fun event, but not something that happens real often, because again, the gear is really not worth grinding for in this case, but it's fun to kill dragons. And lastly, we have Lion's Mane PvP gear, which is going to be pretty similar to the Dragonflight gear, where you have to get these Banner of the Fallen from doing PvP. That is kind of a cool hat, I will say. So it is sort of cool looking gear. And accessories, more of the same. Just generic one enchantment slot gear. So definitely not the best, but it's available there, especially for somebody who likes the clean complexion. And there are artifact weapons that you can purchase with all these different currencies combined, and these armaments that, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure where to get, because again, the other weapons that you can get are better than these. And then under accessories, you can get the Siege Master's Warhorn, which is fine, but not going to be a best in slot artifact. But if you were wanting to try to collect all the gear, that would be where you get it. Now we go over to the Barmaid, who's the next vendor that you need to know about, and she sells food. Now, since our marketplace is not max level, there's some of these foods that we do not have access to. However, there are guilds in our alliance that have these available, so we can go to their stronghold and purchase it. Now, there's several categories of these food, each one of them at max level. So these are the ones that we don't have. We're going to mouse over them and show you the stats. Are going to give you 5,000 HP and 1,000 to a particular stat. This one gives you defense. I believe these are for 30 minutes. So this one gives you 5,000 HP and 1,000 defense. Prime Rib gives you 5,000 HP and 1,000 power. Seared Tuna gives you critical strike. Ratatouille gives you recovery. The Sambocade, or however it is that you pronounce that, it looks like a slice of pizza, but I think it's supposed to be pie, gives you 1,000 movement. Chocolate gives you 1,000 regen, and this one gives you 2 additional Everfrost damage. So not going to be particularly useful. Most people are using the Seared Tuna or the Prime Rib. I tend to go for the Ratatouille for the recovery, because I get power from buffs, and the defense from the honeyed bread is also pretty good. And if you go to another stronghold in the Alliance, you'll have access to those. Not any stronghold, but certainly some specific ones. The Generalist merchant is going to give you all your consumables, right? Potions, kits, scrolls, and furniture. So these are furnitures that we can use in the guild hall where we started out. The feasts are cool. You can put the feast out, as I mentioned, and everybody sit down and look like they're eating food. Now we have 2 professions merchants over here. So these are going to give you certain rare masterworks professions items that you can purchase for guild marks. This can be a good way to get money to get guild marks by buying these and selling them on the auction house, but that's something you would want to look at for yourself.
This place is really starting to shape up, wouldn't you say?
And the artisan will give you your masterwork professions recipes. However, this is a long and painful grind that you have to have. After you get your professions up to level 25, he will also give you quests in order to unlock the things that you need to purchase those from him. The gem monger will give you overload enchantments either for yourself or for your companion. Now these are going to be available for PvE or PvP, and they'll give you an increase to damage towards a certain type of enemy. I'm not going to read these all to you, but there's Thans and werewolves and orcs and etc. as you go along. You can also get those for your companion. Don't usually buy those, but if you really need to gear up for a particular dungeon. Another point of interest in the Stronghold behind this merchant is the target dummies. This is where you can go and check out what your stats look like in combat. Alright, so this is pretty helpful for testing out builds and making sure you're hitting them the max crit or max armor pin or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And I think that's most everything inside of the Stronghold that's important to know about. It looks like we're going to go run some influence here, which is important because we also want to talk about what's going on outside of the Stronghold. So I mentioned influence as being a currency you can donate to the coffer. Influence is very important for leveling up structures, and is one of the things that we need the most of as a guild. So we really encourage people to try to farm it when they can. If you pull open the map, you'll see all of these various heroic encounters, and they have 3 sizes. There's the big ones that have 3 swords, there's the medium ones that have 2 swords, there's the small ones that have just a single axe. And each one of these will give you a certain amount of influence depending on how many you've done that day. You can receive influence from up to 5 heroic encounters per day. And now we're going to go run a few with Horned Owl, and so you can see what they look like. Alright, so the first heroic encounter we're going to do is going to be one of the 3-star ones. We're going to go to Giants Among the Dead. This is one of the easier 3-star ones. And the 3-star, or 3-tier heroic encounters, we call them BHEs, or Big Heroic Encounters, give you the best rewards. So the first one you do each day is going to give you 10 heroic shards of power that you can donate. And they also have a chance to drop epic gear, as well as refining stones and things like that. So when we do have a group together, we try to run the big ones. We don't have a lot of time left, so I am going to go ahead and start these up. So we'll be ready to go when Owl and Artemis get here. Oh. These guys do hit pretty hard if you don't have a tank. So make sure you don't have a throne equipped instead of your Stone of Health. And I think we're going to continue running the big ones here. So there are, I think, 3 of these crisis BHEs that you can get, and they're all about the same. There's a small group of epic level enemies at the first that you have to fight. And then there'll be a series of low-level enemies that spawn that you have to kill, and then 2 bosses that come in at the end. Alright, so here we get the low-level, regular level 70 enemies. They come in waves, they don't take very long to kill. And then there's 2 enemy commanders that will show up. And they're a little tougher, but not bad. So I won't bore you with the rest of the heroic encounters. I will see you back in the Stronghold when we're going to open up all the rewards from these. And then there's a couple other things that you need to know about the Stronghold, and that about wraps it up. Alright, we have now fast forwarded, and we're back to where Seymour is, so we're going to collect our influence. We ran 5 of those big heroic encounters, so just Control F to accept the reward. And like I said, for the first one we get heroic shards of power, as well as influence. We got a purple belt that we can use for salvage. And now there's items in my overflow bag. Cleared out the inventory a little bit, now let's open the rest of them. You see we got a black pearl for each one and a total of 400 influence. Now if we go here, we could donate our shard for 100 guild marks. So those are pretty valuable. And we're going to donate some of these vouchers that we picked up along the way. I'm going to donate the small ones because I'm saving the big ones for double guild mark events. And we're going to donate our 400 influence. And there we go. We got some guild marks. Now, if you're curious about what you can do with guild marks, besides buying food and gear at the vendors that I mentioned already, I would encourage you to check out my Astral Diamond Farming video. When it's up, I'll put the link in the description, but there's a lot of ways you can use guild marks to make Astral Diamonds by buying gear or professions and flipping it. So we'll go over that in detail in another video, but essentially that's how farming influence works. Now, if you are by yourself, I don't recommend doing the big heroic encounters because they're going to take a while and or you may not be able to do them. But instead, if you go to these small ones on the map, those are easily doable with just one person. And there's always going to be several of them up so you can go from one to another pretty easily. Now you can see we completed a couple other quests while we're out there where we get some heroic shards and some vouchers for labor that we can donate to the guild. And from the ranger we got defending the stronghold and keeping the peace. Those are repeatable as well, so you can complete those every day and get more guild marks. Okay, there are a couple of other things of note in the stronghold that I'm going to go over here just very quickly. You can see here our archer tower that's at the front gate. That comes in handy in PvP. It fires arrows at enemy players. We don't play PvP in this guild, but it's cool looking and we have one, and most other guilds do not. We also have a large mushroom tower. I'm going to get up close and take a look at it here. This is our large mushroom. This one regenerates health in PvP, which is also not that useful, but it is cool. I mean, how many guilds do you know that have giant mushrooms growing on their stronghold? Another thing of interest is the piranhas in the moat. They will eat you. Mostly they like your horse, but they will eat you. So try not to fall in the moat. And then just a couple more things that I want to point out. Now, this is the side gate to the stronghold here. So this is over by where we see the target dummies. If you go out the back gate behind the target dummies, this is where our temporary vendors are going to be if we have them. In other guilds that are maxed out that summon professional vendors, this is where you're going to find them. Right now we have a gem cutter and a recruiter. So these generate resources that we really need to upgrade our buildings. So if you go here and tend the plot, then it adds them to the coffer. It appears that somebody literally just tended these, and so what I did just didn't do anything, but that's where those are going to be. In addition to that, we also have these 4 purple buildings are the ones that generate resources. So I'm going to start at the farm, which is just around the corner from the back of the stronghold. So this is where we generate those resources that we need to build the buildings and whatnot that we cannot buy. So these are procedurally generated over time, and these have all just been tended. So I'm not actually going to drive to all of them and tend them, because somebody just did. But there are 4 of them. There's the farm, the mine, the quarry, and the lumberyard. Alright, well that about wraps up the Stronghold tour of the Sword Coast Knights. Thanks everybody for tuning in and your interest in the guild. And hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you're watching this because you just joined the guild, welcome. If you're interested in joining the guild, reach out to us in-game or on our website in the description. If you'd like to see more Neverwinter videos or stay more connected to the guild, feel free to subscribe below. And if you'd like to, you can pass this along to anyone else who might be interested. We do appreciate it.